Alright, what's happening, y'all? I'm gonna get right to it. No, let's get it. No intro video. We're just gonna get right to it. I've been going around the internet finding and organizing everybody that the Washington football team have met with so far this season as far as 2021 draft prospects go. The vast majority of this comes from Ken Burgundy, but I also looked all around the internet and found a couple of more people just like Justin Fields, as you can see at the top, through reports. But the vast majority of these are from Ken Burgundy. Follow him on Twitter at Burgundy Burner on Twitter. He's the one that's really good with keeping up to date with who exactly the Washington football team have met with. And as you can see, like literally all of these except for the Justin Fields one are virtual meetings. But I just wanted to take this and organize it in a way that we could like all easily understand. First of all, as you'll see, this is all the TDN big board ranks, the draft network. It's going to be hard for all of us to agree on one solid big board. If I were to come up with my own, if I were to use another website, there's always going to be a crowd of people that are very angry with the results. So I figured the draft network has a huge gathering of very trustworthy, smart draft analyst guys, football heads, super film watchers, and I figured that their big board is probably going to be as likable as possible as far as the masses go. So I'm using their big board ranks as far as to put these prospects in order. As you can see, with Justin Fields being 6, Devontae Smith being 14, Kadarius Toney, Rondell Moore, all of that type of stuff. So, and then I also went and researched which picks are in which round. So through any given draft, picks 1 through 32 are in round 1, picks 33 through 64 are in round 2, and then round 3 is when the compensatory picks get added in. So it's normally from 65 to the early 100s, then round 4 early 100s to the early 140s, round 5 140s to the 170s, round 6 170s to the 210s, round 7 210s to the 250s, and then drafted free agents are normally the guys that come after 260. And of course these aren't exactly accurate, but I just wanted to give us a nice basis, and it makes it easier to look at, because when you're looking at the list you can see that blue means they're more than likely going the first round, green means they're more than likely going the second round, orange more than likely in the third round, and so on and so on. So I just wanted to organize this in a way that you could clearly see exactly who may be going to win, and just, I mean, to take a look at some of the guys that we're actually interested in, because there are a lot of great players out there, but if they don't actually go and meet with them at least virtually, or if there aren't at least reports that they like these guys, then just don't bet on us taking them. Even if we feel like they're very talented, even though we feel like they could be very good for this team, if the Washington football team doesn't show big interest in them, don't expect them to draft them. I mean, we took Montez Sweat and Terry McLaurin, all Senior Bowl guys that they paid heavy attention to. And a lot of the guys we brought in, whether it be through the draft or as undrafted free agents, our team previously met with them leading up to the draft. So I feel like these are good indications of who we may be targeting, because they want to get a good feeling, not just for the player as he is on the field, the film study, his production, but they also want to know where he is mentally. And Ron Rivera is huge on that. That's where Justin Fields comes in, because the reports that they love Justin Fields come from the fact that Rivera and company feel like he's the best leader, the most upstanding individual, the best face of a franchise type of guy, the guy that says all of the right things, that does all of the right things on and off the field, like a Deshaun Watson intangibles type of guy. So that's big on Ron Rivera's radar. He didn't draft Terry McLaurin, but you see how much he loves him. He wants these hard-working, no nonsense, very disciplined, always willing to work and put in the extra hour, going to give it their all day in and day out type of guys. Justin Fields seems to be one of those guys, according to Rivera and company, and a lot of reports coming out of all of the draft buzz. But again, I'm just sharing this. I'm gonna go down the list and tell you like all of the players and their big board rank. I know you can see them on the screen, but we're gonna scroll down and go through each one of them, just in case if you're one of those people that listens but doesn't look. But I just wanted to give y'all the key. First of all, like I said, the rounds. Also, Rico's favorites are bolded. So Justin Fields, Ifitu Melifonwu, my boy. Those two are my favorites. Everybody else, I mean, I probably really like them. But like Devontae Smith, of course he's great, but I don't exactly feel like he's realistic and things like that. But these two guys are like the two guys that if we get these two, I don't even care what we do with the rest of the rounds. We get Justin Fields and Ifitu Melifonwu, I'm doing backflips. But there also are other guys throughout this list that I like, but those are like my two main favorites. When I watch more film, I may end up liking one of these guys as one of those Rico guys, but Justin Fields and Ifeatu Melifonwu are definitely two of my guys. There's not too many people in this draft class that I just really like. Also, according to this list, I guess our suggested big needs are wide receiver, tight end. Wide receiver has 19, tight end has 9 that are in this table that they're connected to, whether it be through virtual meeting or reports. Defensive line is 6, that's including defensive tackle and edge rusher. DB, that's including cornerback and safety, that's 5. Offensive lineman, guard and tackle, that's 3. Quarterback 1, that's only Justin Fields, and linebacker 1. Now, that doesn't exactly mean those are our biggest needs in order, though, because clearly quarterback and linebacker are our biggest, but those are the guys that we're connected to the least. But maybe that's because they're really interested in some linebackers and quarterbacks. They don't want other teams knowing that, and they don't want other teams to strategize against that and take those guys before them, like to trade up in front of us and take a JOK or Jabril Cox or something like that. If they know we're really interested in them, maybe a team will be like, oh, we need to get in front of Washington to do it. But if they don't know, they'll probably stay where they're at, and then we can go ahead and sneak and take one of those guys. So, and I feel like also the ones with a lot of them, like wide receiver and tight end, I just feel like they're doing their due diligence and they're making sure they interview every single one of them. So when it comes to those later parts of the draft, like rounds 3 through 7, they can like have exactly who they like. And they can be like, well, if we like this guy in the 6th round equally as much as this guy that may go in the 4th, we'll just go ahead and draft, say, cornerback in the 4th and go and get the receiver in the 6th. So I think they're interviewing a lot of receivers and tight ends because they want to make sure that they at least like one guy every round so they can have backup plans. I feel like that's how that exactly goes. I mean, of course, that may not be exactly what's going on, but I feel like that does play a part in it because clearly quarterback and linebacker, in my opinion, as you can see in Rico's biggest needs, are the biggest needs, but it's also the least amount of people they're connected with 1 and 1, 2 total between both positions. In my opinion, quarterback's the biggest need by far. Then there's linebacker. Corner, I know we have Ronald Darby, Kendall Fuller, Jimmy Moreland, but I want Kendall Fuller back in the slot. I would love to get a freakishly athletic corner to be our number 1 guy because Ronald Darby and Kendall Fuller are good, but we've seen like against the Buccaneers when they go against guys that are not only great route runners but just freakishly athletic at the receiver position, there's nothing they can do. So I would love to get a freakish athletic dog at corner like my boy Ifeatu Melifonwu, who may make it to the 2nd round. But at the same time, Kendall Fuller and Ronald Darby could be solid at both the outside corner positions as long as we have a rangy free safety. If we can go and get a guy that can hold it down, run single high free safety, cover one all on the deep end by himself, last man of defense, holding it down, cornerback may not be as big of a need because that can help mitigate a lot of the problems Ronald Darby and Kendall Fuller come across getting beat deep so often. Then of course wide receiver 2 is a big need, but at the same time I have it a little bit lower because we have candidates like Kelvin Harmon and Cam Sims who may end up shining this next year. You never know. AGG, Isaiah Wright, somebody may step up and be a really good wide receiver 2. You never know. Maybe Steven Sims bounce back. But also I feel like we're going to address wide receiver 2 in free agency, so I just didn't want to put too much stock in the draft for wide receiver 2. I feel like we're going to address that before we even get there, honestly. Tight end 2 would be great, but also I feel like we may address that in free agency. And also this tight end class isn't one of those elite ones, so I feel like they may just wait till later in the draft to get one. I mean, because if they've interviewed 9 guys, that means they like 9 guys, and some of them may go in the 2nd, some may go in the 4th, some may go in the 6th, and they may find the guy that may go in the 6th round equally as valuable, and they may like his talent and production and what he can provide for the team as much as a tight end that may go in the 2nd round. So we may potentially address tight end and receiver again in later rounds just because they like so many guys. They prefer to address another position like linebacker that's really hard to find in the later rounds, get that in the first 2 rounds, maybe first 3, and then get a receiver tight end in one of the later rounds. Because again, if they like a guy in the 7th round as much as they like a guy that may be projected to go in the 3rd, they'll probably just wait till that 7th round guy or take him maybe in the 6th or something. And then offensive line, I don't feel like offensive line is anywhere near as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. Of course, it'd be nice to go in free agency and get a starter so Cornelius Lucas or Wes Schweitzer at the guard position can be just excellent depth. I feel like they're solid starters, so for them to come off the bench would be ridiculous depth and probably give us one of the best, deepest offensive lines in the NFL. So if you can get a guy that's better than Cornelius Lucas at tackle, better than Wes Schweitzer at guard, we have a top 7 offensive line in the NFL, I feel like. But alone as it is today, I feel like it is a top half of the league offensive line. Pro Football Focus thinks it's top 5. I wouldn't go that far, but I also don't think offensive line is just this huge need. Then running back depth, of course, because I think Peyton Barber may be one of those guys that gets cut. We don't know about Bryce Love, honestly. So I feel like Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick are automatics. You have your 1 and 2 down back in Antonio Gibson, who could also be a very good third down back, but J.D. McKissick is just so good at being a third down back, it's hard to keep him off the field. So we can come and get another heavy carry guy, one of those guys that gets you short yardage, maybe late in the draft or undrafted free agent. We saw how good James Robinson was last season as an undrafted free agent. I feel like it's not even really worth wasting draft picks on running backs now, unless you're getting like a franchise-changing guy. I highly doubt we go and get a Najee Harris or something like that. And then defensive line depth, we're always going to need that. You always got to re-up because, first of all, contracts are coming up. Are we going to re-sign Jonathan Allen, Matt Ioannidis, Deron Payne, Chase Young, Montez Sweat, all of them type of thing? Also, Ryan Kerrigan is more than likely leaving after the season. He says he wants to start. I highly doubt he's going to start here. So he's more than likely leaving. So we're going to need somebody in rotation because I feel like Ryan Anderson also will be just let free. So we're going to need some defensive line depth. And that's why they have virtually met with at least 6 confirmed defensive linemen. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and get to the list. So you have 6th overall in the big board rank from the Draft Network, Justin Fields, quarterback from Ohio State. The connection is reports. Everybody else are virtual meetings, so I'm not just going to keep reiterating that. Next, you have they met with Devonta Smith, a wide receiver for Alabama. They met with Kadarius Toney and Rondale Moore, and also Nico Collins. So as far as draft boards go, that's 4 straight receivers right there within the first 2 rounds that they have met with. So if they don't trade up for a quarterback, it's very, very likely we may go receiver in the first round. With us being the 19th overall pick so far, Kadarius Toney being projected the 20th overall player, Rondale Moore being the 31st, Nico Collins being the 44th, and you never know, maybe Devonta Smith slides because of his weight concerns and his durability concerns. So if we don't trade up for a quarterback, I would say it's safe to say we're probably taking receiver in the first round. Then you have Levy, defensive tackle from Washington, Dwayne Eskridge, wide receiver from Western Michigan, another receiver. My boy Ifitu Melifonwu, thank goodness, yes sir, please grab him in the second if he makes it that far. Cornerback from Syracuse, I'm gonna do a whole film session on him because I'm gonna convince y'all why I feel like he's gonna be a dog at the NFL level. I love him. Then you have Greg Newsome, cornerback from Northwestern. So maybe the second round is a sweet spot for cornerback because with Trill Williams being 70th overall, potentially a 3rd round pick, you know what I'm saying? This little sweet spot right here between 59 to 70 could be a nice little spot for corners. Also in the middle, you have edge rusher Patrick Jones from Pittsburgh. Then again, receiver, you have Tylan Wallace, wide receiver from Oklahoma State. And if you like him almost as much as these guys, then you probably take corner here and get Tylan Wallace in the 3rd. The draft is really interesting. You have to play your cards right. A lot of strategy to it. Then you have Tommy Tremble, tight end from Notre Dame. That's the highest ranked tight end out of here. So you can tell that it's not a huge need because they probably start interviewing guys that will be projected going in the 2nd and 1st rounds. But it's a big enough need to where they interviewed a lot of them. And again, like I said earlier, I think they just want to get a feel for a lot of the tight ends that they may potentially take. And if they like, say, Noah Gray, potential undrafted free agent, as much as they like Tommy Tremble, then you might as well take another position in the 3rd round. And we have 2 3rd round picks so far. And then just get Noah Gray as an undrafted free agent, or maybe in the 7th round or something. You know, it's a lot of strategy to this. Then you have Amari Rodgers, a lot of y'all's favorites, wide receiver from Clemson. Again, very deep receiver draft. I mean, the fact that he's projected to potentially go in the 4th round is wild. Darius Stills, defensive end from West Virginia. Then you have Austin Watkins Jr., another wide receiver from UAB, ranked 130th overall. Then you have Hunter Long, tight end from Boston College, ranked 137. David Moore, guard from Grambling State, ranked 138th. Sage Surratt, wide receiver from Wake Forest, ranked 140th. And Jonathan Cooper, edge from Ohio State, ranked 143rd. And that pretty much sums up round 4. Then we move to round 5. You have A.O., defensive end from Notre Dame, ranked 148th on the TDN draft big board. 154th overall, you have Frank Darby, wide receiver from Arizona State. Des Fitzpatrick, wide receiver from Louisville, is 158th overall. My boy Trey McKitty, tight end from Georgia, ranked 165th. I hope we go get him. Thomas Graham Jr., cornerback from Oregon, ranked 166th. And then Dalen Hayes, edge rusher from Notre Dame, ranked 169th. That pretty much rounds up the projected 5th round. Moving to the 6th round, you have wide receiver Cade Johnson from South Dakota State, ranked 182nd. Kenny Yeboah, tight end from Ole Miss, ranked 187th. Marquez Stevenson, wide receiver from Houston, ranked 188th. Cornell Powell, wide receiver from Clemson, ranked 195th. Trevon Grimes, wide receiver from Florida, ranked 198th. And Quentin Morris, tight end from Bowling Green, ranked 201st. And that rounds up the 6th round of projections. Of course, again, I reiterate, that doesn't exactly mean these guys will go in these rounds. Maybe Kenny, somebody likes him enough to take him all the way up in the 4th round or 3rd round. Maybe something happens and people just don't like Tommy Tremble that much anymore. Maybe he goes in the 6th round. You never know. These are just projections. Just wanted to give y'all a relative idea of where some of these guys may go, and I wanted to color coordinate it so it can be easier to see. Then in the final round, you have guard from Middle Tennessee, Robert Jones, 219th overall. Shi Smith, wide receiver from South Carolina, 230th overall. John Bates, tight end from Boise State, 236th overall. And KJ Britt, linebacker from Auburn, 255th, according to the Draft Network's big board ranking. And then you also have, these are in the undrafted free agents range because the draft normally ends before pick 260. But you never know. These guys, you know, somebody may like them and end up taking them somewhere in the 4th round, 3rd. You never know. But according to the Draft Network's big board, these guys are potential undrafted free agents. You have Deontay Smith, offensive tackle from East Carolina. You have Tony Poljan, tight end from Virginia. Racy McMath, wide receiver from LSU. Colin Granson, tight end from SMU. Ben Skowronek, wide receiver from Notre Dame. Josh Palmer, wide receiver from Tennessee. Noah Gray, tight end from Duke. And lastly, Darren Hall, cornerback from San Diego State. And again, this list is not random. These are all of the guys that, through reports or through confirmed virtual meetings, are connected to this franchise, and Rivera and company are interested in these guys. Now, by the time the draft comes around, this list is going to expand way more. I'm going to add to it, of course. So I'm going to keep y'all updated. I may do several videos like these up to the draft if we keep getting more reports of guys they're interested in. Like maybe when pro days come up, if they go to Trey Lance's pro day at North Dakota State, I will include Trey Lance up here. And then I'll put as connection visited pro day and things like that. So this list will keep growing and changing as we get up to the draft. And I just want to keep y'all up to date on this just to get a good feel on who we may end up taking. I feel like this is a solid list of players that may end up being a part of this 2021 draft class. Again, you can't get them all. You can't get Devonta Smith, Kadarius Toney, and Rondale Moore all in the 1st round. We only have 1 pick. And I prefer to trade up for a quarterback like Fields, Wilson, or Lance. So, of course, we're not going to get all of these guys, but I'm willing to bet that at least 5 of these guys will be on our team come summer, whether it be through the draft or undrafted free agents. Because teams don't waste their time. Like, time is money. They're not just going to meet with all of these guys for no reason. There's serious, genuine interest in a lot of these guys. And you never know. Maybe somebody had a bad virtual meeting and now they're X'd off of the big board. Maybe they didn't like them after they talked to them. So some of these guys may not get picked up because even though they met with them doesn't mean they necessarily like them. But a virtual meeting does show that they have shown interest and they feel like they're a realistic possibility to get. Because again, if Chase Young was available in this draft, and with us having the 19th overall pick, we wouldn't meet with them. They wouldn't even waste their time meeting with them. Of course, they'd be interested because Chase Young is a dog, as we've seen. But even before knowing that, what he did at Ohio State, everybody's interested in Chase Young. But it's no point of even getting a virtual meeting with him because he's way out of your range at 19. So, of course, these are just more realistic options. And again, don't be surprised if you see 5 or more of these guys on our team by the time training camp comes around. But yeah, man, I would like to thank Ken Burgundy again for providing a lot of the information here. I found him on Twitter, and he's by far the biggest resource I use to gather this information. Again, I looked on the internet and other places, but he was definitely the biggest source of information for who the Burgundy and Gold have met with. I wanted to put this list together, and again, I will keep it updated as we start to meet more people. Now, tomorrow they say they met with 2 people. I'll add them to the list, but I'm not going to do a video. I'll probably do another video in a couple of weeks if they've talked to like 5 to 10 more people, or even more than that. But again, I will keep y'all updated. And I do plan on doing an Ifitu Melifonwu film session, and also I'm gonna reference this list myself for guys I should even do film sessions on. I don't want to do a film session on Gregory Rousseau and we're not interested in him at all. So I'm gonna use this as a reference, like, oh, okay, we do need a receiver, so let me do a Kadarius Toney film session. Yeah, we kind of do need a cornerback free safety hybrid guy. We may be able to get him in the 3rd round. So let me do a Trill Williams film session this week. I'm not gonna waste my time doing random film sessions for guys that I'm almost sure we're not going to get. So I will also be referencing this list going forward for my film sessions, especially my final mock draft. Y'all know my 5th and final mock draft right before the draft, maybe like a week or 2 before the draft actually happens. I do a mock draft that is like my best chance of being as realistic as possible. It's not necessarily what I want us to draft, but what I think we will draft and guys will pick up. So this list will be very crucial for that. But at the end of the day, man, please like this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. Please let me know if you want more videos like this. Y'all know I am like the draft guru, so I try to do everything I can to make the draft more simple, easier to understand, give y'all resources. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to find a way to post this to where y'all can access it, maybe like a PDF file somewhere on my Twitter or something like that, or on my channel. Let me know if y'all want access to this. I can easily just put this out there. And also please subscribe if you haven't for more videos like this. Please hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately every time I release a video like this one, every time I release a live stream, a mock draft, a film session. Stay tuned, man. Y'all know off season is when I get my busiest, so plenty of content coming. And as always, man, I really appreciate all of my supporters, man. Everybody that gives to the channel any way that you can. I mean, even if that's pulling up to every live stream, every video, and leaving a like and encouraging others to like, sharing my videos to your friends and everywhere so more people can pull up and become a part of the Street Scores family. All of that. And of course, man, I really appreciate everybody that donates. All of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose name you see scrolling on the screen right now, man. I really appreciate all of y'all. Again, get in the comment section and let me know if you enjoyed this video. Do you want more videos like this? Because I can do more research like this. I can probably even do like a free agency version of this if y'all want me to, like guys that we may be connected to. I mean, free agency is coming up in about like 15 days, and we're probably going to start hearing news even before that. So I'm not sure. Maybe by the time I get that video out, we'll already be signing people, but I don't know. I mean, just let me know if y'all want me to try to do something like that. I'm gonna be in the comment section reading and replying. So again, man, I appreciate all of the support, man. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.